All right, I want to get the very latest with regards to what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal. Protest Action reports that 37 people have been arrested around KwaZulu-Natal since Friday on charges relating to ongoing violent protests across the province. The most of the arrests were made in Empangeni on the north coast, where trucks were burnt, and in Mooi River, where 23 heavy-duty motor vehicles, including a tanker and a car carrier, were torched. Let's bring in Ayanda Mhlongo live for us in Mooi River. Ayanda, a very good morning to you once again. So you moved from Escort, you're now in Mooi River. Why? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, very good morning to you, Blaine. Good morning to our viewers once again. We have indeed now moved from Escort. We're reporting shortly in this morning to Mooi River. You remember that, of course, focus yesterday was in the area of Mooi River following those violent protests that took place on Friday and Saturday night, where angry community members went on the rampage and torching, as you said, 23 trucks here in the vicinity of the Mooi River toll plaza. But of course, the number now of trucks in the province, Blaine, that have been torched in the 2 days now stands at 25. Since yesterday, authorities were hard at work clearing up the area. Let me just step out of shot a little bit for my colleague Ray Mbele to show our viewers that hours after yesterday's massive mop-up operations here at the Mooi River toll plaza, the workers are still at it, removing the torched trucks as well as the debris that has been left behind. There you see them in the background, the huge tow trucks that are also just in front of those workers there. And obviously, I don't think one can see from our vantage point, but they are still busy. There are at least 3 scenes along the N3 at the moment, a plane where they are still clearing up on this side of the toll plaza where we are, the direction heading to Johannesburg, and also just further down as you would approach the toll plaza coming from Durban. The officials here hard at work, but as you see, traffic is now flowing. The N3 is now open to motorists. And it's very, very quiet, I must say, on observations as we were coming down. I'm just looking across at the town of Mooi River. It's like a ghost town there, although it is a Sunday plane, and obviously there would be fewer people possibly doing the shopping, but shops that would be open and nevertheless on a Sunday are closed in this small town. Looking across here at the township where presumably many of the community members that were part of the protest would have come from. It is also seemingly calm across here. This is the township here that is just adjacent to the N3 freeway. Very, very calm. We have been seeing police vehicles that have been driving up and down the roads there, and of course there is a heavy police deployment in the area. Members of the South African Police Services, as well as particularly in this vicinity of the Mooi River toll plaza, we have the Road Traffic Inspectorate along the N3. In fact, Blaine, as we were coming down from Escort at the different off-ramps, there is a police presence there, members of the South African Police Force as well as RTI, of course. And about a few minutes time, we're expecting the arrival of the MECs for Economic Development, Ravi Pillay, as well as the MEC for Transport and Community Safety and Liaison, Peggy Nkonyeni. I'm just looking at the program and what they're going to be doing once they get here, is that they're here to inspect the deployment of the enforcement personnel along the area, as well as to assess the damage. So they're going to be here in the area, of course, to see the extent of the damage that was caused by the protests, and then they will be meeting with the officers that have been deployed to this area. We note, of course, that it's not just police officers from in and around Mooi River. There are deployments that have come from outside the province of KwaZulu-Natal to beef up police here in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and they are also here in the area. It is, of course, regarded as one of the hotspot areas, and so a lot of police are now concentrated in this area, ensuring that they monitor the situation. Of course, as now the N3 has opened and we are seeing trucks on the move and motorists on the move, there is still that a tenseness in the situation that is still tense. Blaine, one cannot say that we're completely now in the clear, as we know that the protesters and those that are saying that these protesters are linked to the support of former President Jacob Zuma, who people are saying they want to be released from prison. And so the situation just across KwaZulu-Natal remains tense, but the law enforcement agencies, of course, are on the ground ensuring that there is stability, particularly in areas like this. And no doubt, Blaine, this is going to be an area that the law enforcement agencies are going to possibly be on the ground for quite some time, ensuring that we don't see the events that took place on Friday night. Another point about this area, Blaine, you'd note that it's not the first time that we've seen protests and damage to the extent that we saw in the past couple of days in this area. Previously, when there were protests in other parts of KwaZulu-Natal, particularly linked to truck drivers, there was a time when truck drivers in the province were complaining about jobs and saying that jobs were or foreigners were being prioritized by truck companies and that they were getting the jobs. Again, during that time, we saw incidents like this taking place. Whether or not, particularly these are people who are just capitalizing on the current situation, although this particular area, in terms of us having covered it politically speaking now, I mean, you've been asking us, Blaine, about the support of the former president in several areas. In this particular area, it's not an area that we had frequented or visited often, where there was political engagements or political meetings in this particular area. And so it could possibly be that people might just capitalize on an already difficult situation and then come forward, because the problem is we see them looting the trucks before they are burned. So of course there are those elements of criminality as well that are creeping in. But as I've said, we are now seeing law enforcement agencies, they are here monitoring the situation here. Blaine?
Right, so I just want to get a sense of developments in the last 24 hours in KwaZulu-Natal, and you can check me on these numbers, Ayanda. So yesterday this time we had information of 23 trucks that were torched and 27 people that were arrested in KwaZulu-Natal. You and I are saying that number, in terms of number of trucks that have been torched, is now up to 25, and the number of arrests 37. Confirm?
Yeah, yes, Blaine, that's the numbers that we are getting. Of course, you know, while we are on the ground, it is often difficult for us who are reporting and moving from area to area. As you know, that there are still incidents that took place in the early hours of this morning. We are reporting of blockages in the area of Pongola, which is northern KwaZulu-Natal. Last night, down on the south coast on the N2 towards Port Shepstone, or just after Port Shepstone, I beg your pardon, there were incidents there as well. And so the numbers of damage to the trucks could rise, Blaine, but so far the numbers that we do have are 25, and the number of arrests at this point stand, as you're saying, at 37. But these are the numbers that we have for now. It could be in the last hour that we've been speaking that the numbers could have increased. The police are now placed in strategic areas, in the hotspot areas, moving around. And you know, of course, Blaine, that there are those people that the police are specifically looking for that are believed to have been a part of the mobilizing of the protests, and also those that mobilized gatherings which are illegal during this time, as the country is still under level 4 of the lockdown. Blaine?
Look, I understand completely. It's a fluid situation, and I keep reminding our brothers and sisters who are watching that we are processing information in real time. So we want to get you the very latest, but we also want to sift out the news from the noise as well. So it's important that we do that. Talk to us about what you're currently seeing behind you. How many torched trucks are still yet to be removed from that area. How many are left there behind you?
Let me just step out of shot just to give our viewers a view of what they can see. Blaine, it looks like there are at least 3 that we could see, and there are also 2 vehicles, and this is what we saw as we were coming down the N3. So 3, it looks like they are almost cleared up this area. Of course, you know that they've been hard at work since yesterday and overnight, removing these trucks and the debris from the roads. And possibly, if I look at the time now, Blaine, 11:30. Possibly by this afternoon, and looking at the speed in which yesterday they were clearing up, and it opened up parts of the freeway, that it could be that they would have cleared up the debris and these trucks by at least this afternoon. But they have been removed from the actual highway. There are no other obstacles at the moment. As you can see there, traffic is moving freely. But of course, I suppose there would be a lot of anxiety from motorists, Blaine. You know, you're saying that the situation is still very much fluid. And just as I was saying, as we were traveling through the small town of Mooi River, there is a service station which is often very, very busy on weekends as people are traveling up to areas and stop. It's a rest stop for trucks and motorists that are traveling towards areas up in the north and towards the Drakensberg. It's always full of people, but today it's very, very few people at that service, at that truck stop or service station. So again, that possibly just shows that a lot of people are hesitant to come through this area. It's only those that maybe have to for urgent needs and business, and the trucks, of course. But we are waiting, Blaine, as I said, to speak in particularly to the MEC for Economic Development, Ravi Pillay, as soon as they arrive, on what this has done and the impact that these protests have had on the economy and KwaZulu-Natal. We're saying earlier that the provincial cabinet met yesterday. There was a special sitting of the provincial cabinet, and so we'd also want to find out what is going to be the next move for the KwaZulu-Natal government to try and curtail this situation. But we will be posing those questions to the MEC for Economic Development. We also note, Blaine, that what has happened here on the freeway, yes, it's been damage to these trucks, but these trucks were coming from the Durban port to various destinations, others beyond South Africa's borders. And so we understand whatever challenges they would encounter here would also create backlogs on at the Durban port. So we'll be finding out what is the situation at the Durban port and also at the Richards Bay port. We also note that the police had also said, if you remember, speaking to the police spokesperson, Ben, that's one of the areas that is regarded as a hotspot, which police are focusing on, having received information of possible protesters targeting the Durban harbour and the Richards Bay harbour. So our understanding is that there is a large deployment of police around the Durban harbour as well, to ensure that there is no further damage to property there as well. Blaine?
Just speaking about damage, I know that you said that the MECs are en route to assess the extent of the damage, but just from what you're looking at, how badly damaged is the road surface there behind you?
Let me just step out of shot again, Blaine. It looks like a lot of, as I was saying, a lot of the rubble and the debris has now been moved or pushed to the side of the road. They are cleaning and also mopping up, sweeping on the actual tar. Doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on the actual tar, but a lot of the debris, of course, as you're saying, is on the side now of the roads. Apart from that, Blaine, not a lot of damage that one can see here. Very different to the little town of Mooi River, which we passed through. We could still see as well, you know, that they looted some stores there. So there is broken glass and some damage to some of the stores in their small town of Mooi River. But looking around here on the road, not a lot of visible damage that we can now see, of course, as the law enforcement agencies have been working on clearing the road. Blaine?
It's important information there, Ayanda, from you, because it gives us a sense to try to get an idea whether this road is going to be shut down again to fix it. But as you say, there's minimal damage there. But look, the assessments will go on, and we will get the finality from the authorities as well. We just look in on face value. We are no experts in terms of engineering and how badly damaged the roads are, but we just want to give you a sense of what is happening there. Ayanda, thank you very much indeed for your time. We'll come back to you later on when you